Castlevania is a new Netflix original series that is based on the very popular video game series that started in the 80s and spawned many more sequels down the road. This loosely adapts the plot of Castlevania 3 Dracula's Uprising, which in fact is a prequel to the original 1986 games. It tells why Dracula Vlad Tepes summons a demon horde to descend on Wallachia, as well as the vampire hunter Trevor Belmont's crusade to stop him. I will be honest, I've never played these games, so going into Castlevania, I had no expectations on what the series would be like. I'm not a fan of the series since I've never played it, so I went into it with an open mind, and I'm curious as to where this series will go. And I would like to go back and play some of the older video games. This is a very short season 1 with only 4 episodes at 30 minutes each, so this was a very quick watch. And this was a very quickly paced show. So since there's only really 4 episodes, I'm going to kind of review each episode and kind of give my thoughts on the whole season 1 at the end. The first episode is called Witch Bottle and focuses on Lisa, who is a young girl who wants to know more about science, and she travels to Dracula to learn more, and eventually they become married, and 20 years have passed and Dracula is roaming the world as a human, and he learns that while he's gone, his wife is burned at the stake, and he summons all his monsters upon the world to destroy the humans for what they have done. And it sets the tone for the show and why he did what he did, and it really makes Dracula a compelling character, and you feel sympathy for him because he's just not someone who wants to control the world. He actually has his reasons for descending his army upon the world. This isn't to suggest Dracula isn't a villain, far from it, but the touching backstory does paint him in a slightly sympathetic light. Turning his pain from loss into anger really does open up this show in a really impressive way. The beginning of episode 1 did kind of start off rough, but I really liked the ending of episode 1 and the anger Dracula was showing and descending his army on the world. We do get introduced to Trevor Belmont at the end of episode 1, and it leads into episode 2 and more of his backstory. The Belmont family are people that did hunt Dracula and his army, but eventually people went away with the Belmont family, and so his stay is really not welcomed. At this point, I really feel like this show plays like a video game. He has weapons, he is defeating people, and he is going around town seeking information and going on quests. He wants some help from these people called the Speakers, and he has to go on a mission to find someone that was turned into stone and bring them back so he could have their blessing. And I really feel like going around seeking information is like a video game, having little side quests, going on other missions. And at this point, I really do feel like this is true to the video game series. I haven't played the video game series, and I like there was missions for Trevor Belmont to go on. Unfortunately, for the first half of episode 2, like the first 15 minutes, the tone does feel a little bit different than the very first episode. The first episode was really dark, it was violent, and second episode is violent as well, but it does become kind of happy and joyful with its music choice when the whole series really isn't. And speaking of violence, this show is rated R for a reason. There was a lot of blood, a lot of gore, a lot of violence, and I really do like it. It's fun to watch. And in the third episode and fourth episode, there is some pretty cool battle sequences with Belmont and Cyclops and Dracula and other things. And like I said previously, it does play like a video game of him defeating armies of things, which I like to view as the final boss battle, like Zelda, in a big open room where you're fighting someone and there's a large open space for you to utilize. I like how this show really did end. Since there's only 4 episodes, it was very quickly paced, and I'm really curious as to where this series will go and what it will offer. And how it ended, it has much more to explore. The next season will have 8 episodes instead of 4, but overall, I really enjoyed Castlevania. It had a great backstory to Dracula and the Belmont family. It definitely explored their history. I do think the animation is a little generic at times, but it also is violent worth and worthy of watching. There was only 4 episodes, 30 minutes each, so about 2 hours long. There isn't much more to delve into, but I like how they started the series. I like how they explored Dracula and showed him in a sympathetic way that he had some pain and there's loss and there's reason for his anger and sending his army on the world. I'm gonna go ahead and give Castlevania Season 1 a B. It's definitely worth your time if you like video games and you do like the Castlevania series. I do think that fans will probably enjoy this. I haven't checked this video game series out before. I am going to try to find the video game myself and play the very first few ones. I don't know if I want to sit down and play all of them because I heard there's a lot. So thank you guys for checking out my Netflix original series review for Castlevania. It is streaming now on Netflix, 4 episodes at 30 minutes each. Go over there and check it out. Stay tuned for next week. I'll be reviewing Friends from College starring Kobe Smulders and Keegan-Michael Key and others. And then the week after, I'll be reviewing Ozark starring Jason Bateman. You guys are the best as always. This is Just Watch Movies, and you stay classy, YouTube.